"Sir, my mom isn't waking up," the little girl whispered. The whisper cut through the glass corridor like a blade. "Sir, my mom isn't waking up." I stopped walking. Boardroom lights burned behind me. Screens glowed with numbers that used to matter. My phone buzzed in my hand, another congratulatory message about the merger I had just closed. I didn't read it. I looked down. The girl couldn't have been more than 7. Thin jacket, shoes a size too big, hair tied badly like someone had tried and failed in a hurry. She wasn't crying. That was the first thing that unnerved me. Children cry when they're scared. She wasn't scared. She was certain. "Where is your father?" I asked. She shook her head. "Just come." The word landed heavy, familiar. I hadn't heard that tone in years. Not since a different hallway, a different night, a different woman whose voice I had trained myself to forget. People stared as I followed the girl past reception, past security, out into the cold parking structure beneath the building. No one stopped me. They never did. Power has a smell. People step aside without knowing why. Her footsteps echoed ahead of me, small, quick, purposeful. As we descended the concrete stairs, something began to itch beneath my calm. A pattern trying to surface, a memory knocking from the inside. "Your name?" I asked. She hesitated. "Lena." The air left my lungs. I didn't stop walking. I couldn't. The apartment was on the edge of the city, low rent, high silence, the kind of place people choose when they don't want to be found. The door was unlocked. That detail lodged itself in my mind like a shard. Inside, the air smelled wrong, metallic, sweet, chemical. I saw her before I reached the bedroom, a woman on the floor, still, too still. My vision tunneled. I knew that face. Time did something strange, compressed, folded inward. I had not seen her in 8 years. Not since she vanished with a resignation letter, a smile that didn't reach her eyes, and a promise that sounded rehearsed. "I just need a clean break," she'd said back then. "Don't follow me." I hadn't. That was my first mistake. "She won't wake up," Lena said again, softer now. I knelt, checked for breath, a pulse. There, weak, alive. Relief hit hard. Then the second realization arrived. This wasn't an accident. No signs of struggle, no alcohol, no mess, just a syringe, carefully discarded. Too careful. I stood slowly, my mind already working ahead of my heart. "Who was here today?" I asked. Lena shrugged. "Mom said not to answer the door. But she talked on the phone. She sounded scared." I stared at the walls. Sparse, intentional. No photos of me, no photos of anyone. She had erased me from her life, but she hadn't erased the truth. I called emergency services, gave the address, hung up before they could ask my name. I didn't need to say it. I already knew. Hospitals are honest places. Bodies don't lie there. Machines don't soften the truth. She survived, barely. The doctor spoke in careful tones. Overdose, sedatives, prescribed, not accidental. Someone wanted her quiet. I sat outside the room while Lena slept in a chair beside me, her head leaning against my arm like it belonged there. I didn't move. I started investigating the only way I knew how, quietly. Her phone records were still synced to an old cloud account. I still had access. She had never changed the password. I wondered if that was negligence or something else. Calls from a single number. Blocked, repeated, increasingly frantic. Emails buried in drafts, threats disguised as apologies. "You said you wouldn't tell him. You promised. Think about the child." The child. My jaw tightened. I pulled corporate strings I hadn't used in years. Medical databases, financial trails, private investigators who owed me favors and feared my silence more than my anger. A name surfaced. Marcus Hale, my former partner, the man who had smiled at my wedding, the man who had signed the documents transferring full operational control to me, then vanished overseas with a severance package generous enough to keep him loyal. Or so I thought. He had been in contact with her for years, hidden support payments, medical coverage, a child support agreement that never went through court because it didn't need to. He had leverage. I watched Lena breathe, counted, waited. The truth was assembling itself with cruel precision. She woke up 3 days later. Her eyes found mine immediately. No surprise, only resignation. "So," she whispered, "you know." I handed her my phone, the emails, the transfers, the medical report. She didn't touch it. She didn't need to. "He said he'd destroy us," she said. "Take her away, ruin you. He knew you'd never forgive me." I said nothing. "What were you going to do?"
"To do?" I asked calmly. Her eyes filled. "Finally." "I was going to tell you," she said, "after the merger, when you were safe." Safe? Marcus chose that moment to walk in. Confidence, suit too sharp for a hospital room, smile already forming. It died when he saw me. I stood. "Hello," I said. "You look well for a man who just tried to silence a witness." He laughed once, hollow. "You can't prove anything." I held up a recorder. "I already did." I didn't raise my voice. I didn't threaten him. I simply let the consequences arrive. The board meeting the next morning was efficient. So was the press release. So was the arrest. Marcus's empire collapsed in hours. Fraud, attempted murder, coercion. He looked at me once as they took him away. I didn't return the look. I was done giving him anything. Later, I signed the papers quietly, full custody. Lena's hand fit into mine like it always should have. I walked away from the hospital without looking back. Some truths don't need witnesses. I used to believe control meant power. I was wrong. Control is knowing when to let the past burn and not warming your hands by the fire. Lena sleeps in the room across the hall now, safe, unafraid. Her mother recovered. We speak rarely, cordially, like survivors of the same storm who chose different shores. As for me, I stopped running companies that day. I started protecting what mattered. And the man I used to be, he stayed behind in that hallway, still holding a phone, still pretending numbers could replace truth.